Hi everyone, Mike Stuccino, Master Herbalist. Today I've decided to do a little extra video. This has absolutely nothing to do with herbal medicine. I am titling this video uh, just, it's a general discussion about my perspective in regards to our society and what it's kind of become. And this is very specific to what is currently going on with the mandates and our frontline workers. And I think it's really super important to have this discussion, even though it seems our society is not very big on having discussions. It's just, so I thought me and my homeboy Bones here would just sort of lay out our opinion. We both feel the same way about this. This is specifically about people who work in hospitals and healthcare centers and emergency rooms and so on and so forth. This is not to take away from police and firemen who are active in those areas as well, because they are heroes. They are all frontline workers. They are all true heroes as well. But I'm specifically in this particular case talking about the vilification of our doctors, nurses, MRI CAT scan techs, EMTs, again, firefighters and police, and everyone else that works in a frontline scenario, okay? There seems to be this imaginary idea in people's heads that people who work and who put their life on the line to save other people's lives, who go into what I would consider to be a ruthless field, because it's one of the most, it's one of many, but to me it's a terribly thankless job. You get shit on and abused by people who are angry because they're sick or something bad's happened to them, and they take it out on our nurses, our doctors, our ambulance staffs, EMTs, EMSs, our CAT scan and MRI techs. In a lot of ways, it's a horribly thankless area to work in, regardless of how much money they do or don't make. But I think what's really important to understand is that I think people who believe that the men and women who do these jobs, when you make remarks like these are anti-vaxxers, you are the most delusional motherfuckers on God's green earth. And I'll tell you why. Because by definition, when you go into fields like this, you're required to be vaccinated with certain vaccinations beyond your childhood vaccinations in order to be able to work in these types of environments. And there are many states throughout the country that make it mandatory for people who work in ERs and hospitals where it's mandatory that they have to get a flu shot every year, okay? So these are not exactly individuals who inherently believe that vaccinations are bad or wrong, okay? It's just the stupidest and most fucking absurd thing I've ever heard in my life when I hear and that's saying a lot in our society today, because for people to have the balls to point a finger at a doctor, a nurse, or anybody else who works as frontline workers and say, you're an anti-vaxxer, I got news for you. You need to get your fucking head examined. There's no two ways about it, okay? These are people that put their lives on the line day in and day out. And over the last almost 2 full years, 18 months, 19 months, 2 years, whatever it's been, okay? These are people who in the most selfless manner save lives and risk their lives, and in I don't know how many cases, in many cases I would think, lost their own lives to save your family members' lives, okay, or maybe even your life per se, okay. So what I'm curious about is this: for those frontline workers who are saying, no, I don't want to do this, I don't want to get the stab, my question to you is this: why are we not sitting down with all of them, as many of them as there are, and having an intelligent, well thought out conversation to find out their actual reasons why that is? Why are we not talking to people who worked on the front line to save lives and know the reality of what's actually happening? Why are we not talking to those people? Maybe they can give us a perspective that the politicians have no fucking clue about, as they sit behind their desks and behind their bodyguards and point fingers at people and vilify them. Why are we not talking to the people who are on the front line, asking them the most important question of, if you don't want to have this done, tell us why. Listen to what they have to say, because God forbid, they may be right. I know that was very Joe Biden of me, wasn't it? I know. I just need an ice cream cone now. But anyway, I'm just curious to know and to understand why people don't want to have that conversation. Is it because they're frightened? Is it because they don't want to hear truth? Is it because they think that if these frontline workers who have knowledge that many people don't have from the outside, is it because if they hear that truth, it might shake up the foundational belief that they have? Is that the reason? I don't know. I'm asking you all if that's the reason, because for the love of all that is right, I cannot understand why we are taking these brilliantly vital individuals in our society, and we are just absolutely making them out to be the biggest villains. I think it is such a despicable and disgusting and dirty, underhanded, it's garbage is all it really is. It's just simply garbage. Look how fucking upset you've all made him. Do you see how upset Bones is right now? All right. So that's the end of the video today. I just figured I'd throw it out there. I'm just curious to understand what people think. I'm curious to kind of understand why people are thinking the way they're thinking. I mean, I'm sure part of it is fear-based, and it's understandable people have these fears because there's so much confusion out there. There's so much back and forth. There's so many lies going around, and there's so much. It's very hard to differentiate lies from truth when we can't all come together and look at everything the way it's supposed to be properly looked at. So anyway, that's my question, my perspective, my thoughts. All right, till next time.